My Strategic Plan Strategy Huddle, Innovation Strategies, Part 2.
As we noted, we're going to talk about two types of innovation strategies that we call the shallow stuff. And then we're going to move into a conversation of looking at some of the other ones that are a little bit deeper. So innovation strategies, they're the name of the game. That's what we say. How do we really do this? Let's look at what innovation. So what I'd like to share through this is a handful of slides, again, because we're going to share these with you afterwards. Ryan will be sending out the PDF of these. You can use them for your reference, and part of what we want to do is just give you tools. So the slide that we're looking at right here is a way to help you evaluate, is a set of evaluations from left to right related to where are we getting our ideas for new products and service innovations. Is it, and I'm looking very much sort of shopping for our ideas, are we really greenfielding, bubbling up from internally? Obviously, the difficulty around that is higher, of course. The risk is higher, the investment's higher, versus all the way on the right-hand side, are we shopping for market-ready products? Is it just looking at what might actually be out there that we can buy or piggyback on and bring that to market, of course? And so, or in some cases, acquire companies to buy what they have, in a lot of cases. So, and of course, the risk appetite in that particular side of the product service innovation is lower. So this is just kind of, and I don't want to go through all this because there's a lot on here, but it's a way to help you evaluate where are we getting our ideas from for our product and service innovation, and what's the risk level that where's our appetite in the organization, and the different ways to think about which type of product service innovation strategy that we're going for. So let's look at this case study of an organization that we worked with. And before I move on, sorry, Howard, go ahead.
The slide that we had up before, just so folks know, that came out of an HBR article.
Right.
And the reference got bumped off the bottom. We didn't dream this up. And basically what happens is the more risk we're willing to embrace, the lower the cost with the innovation. Okay? If we do not lower the risk, backwards. If we're not willing to embrace risk and it's going to cost us more, if we're willing to embrace a whole bunch of risk, then the cost goes down, and obviously the time to market goes down. So there's a chart that you can look at. It's in the HBR article as well. And I would there's the third row down. We're talking about market potential for typical innovation. I don't know that that's really apropos anymore by bucketizing the type of revenues you can get off that. So nor the company size, because there are so many opportunities out there today that I think that we shouldn't be putting those blinders on. So thanks for letting me add that point in there.
Yeah, that's perfect. So let's actually put some feet to this. One thing we always really espouse in our discussion is being practical, and some of this feels a little bit academic sometimes, a little ivory tower. So let's make some of those ideas practical. Here's a case study of an organization that we worked with that was trying to go from a fragmented product innovation approach to something that was a little bit more refined. And of course, the intention behind being refined is actually going from idea to a sold product in a fairly rapid amount of time, depending upon the industry that you're in. So what we're looking at on the screen here, and this is something that you can use as a tool for yourself, just to kind of be more rigorous about your product or service innovation strategy. And this is an innovation process about moving ideas, and as you can see, from moving from ideas to actually a market-ready product. So 4 phases, of course, idea generation, internal, external. So that was the previous slide, where we're getting our ideas from. That's that evaluation bucket there. Moving from that to, of course, going from idea into the pipeline and converting it to design and developing it, launching and monitoring it, and then managing it. And then, of course, the circle around to that is planning the portfolio. So another organization that we're working with, not this case study that we're looking at here, one of the reflections I had and just having an external viewpoint on what they're doing is, they have so many product service ideas that are generated from their customers that they start to be a little bit diluted about their ability for the sales folks to actually sell the product set and a service set because it's just too much. And I was kind of talking a little bit, about, not every idea is a good idea. I mean, we all know this, and but what happens when you're on the other end of the spectrum where you just have too much and you haven't really planned the portfolio? So I think that that's an interesting thing, and we'll look at that in just a second. Just kind of think about that a little bit, and are all of these generating revenue? They are. Do they all have market value? They do. But if we can't actually manage the whole portfolio, it starts to fall apart a little bit. So back on this process slide for just a second, we're looking at the boxes that are in orange. And again, you can kind of look at this yourself and adapt it for yourself. But those are the departments that are responsible for being part of each one of these phases. And then the bolded items on there was kind of a goal around each of the phases. And then in this case, we have some metrics, and these are metrics that were applied to this organization, but you can kind of apply them to yourself as well. As how do we know that we're moving effectively through the innovation process? So we've got the process, we've got who's involved, the goal of that phase, and then the specific metrics for each phase. So pretty straightforward, and this is really effective for this organization to go from a fragmented scatter-shot approach to product innovation to something that was a little more streamlined and rigorous. So, and of course, after each phase, there's a phase gate, and some of these products fall off, or ideas fall off. So actually, let's look at the next slide related to that specifically. This is the operational process that supports the innovation process. So for this organization, this was a pretty important tandem process to have in mind as we were putting in place the innovation process. So we'll move past this, but the structure is the same. So here is the output, if you will, or the tool that this organization was using to manage the innovation process. So they had their process map, of course, but looking at the product and service innovation strategy, it came together in what they were calling a segment scorecard. So in this case, it's a market segment. And we have our idea pipeline, that was back to our first phase of the innovation process. Of course, we have some ideas that are revolutionary. We have some that are new technology. Some are new sourcing ideas, and some are line extensions. So that goes back to the initial slide that we had in this slide set, which was where are we getting our ideas from totally raw, revolutionary to just line extensions from what we already have. How do we view that against what we're already selling into this market segment, and what parts of the market are we not serving? And that was one of the evaluation tools that were used to make sure that when we brought a new product to market, that it was actually, how did it fit with the rest of the set, which is what I was speaking about earlier. So our segment scorecard has the list of the current products, how many have been sold, the percent of sales. We can kind of see how effectively we know. In this case, we have one product that's doing remarkably well. When it was launched, so how old are they? And then you can see the new products right there, potential market opportunity. That's where the new ones were coming in. There's a list of threat products as well. And then we had created sort of the trash bin. Let's not forget about the ones that moved through the innovation process and got chucked because they didn't meet. They didn't maybe meet the, in this case, the low innovation quotient. That was a way that we evaluated whether or not they were value creating for the organization, products they just wouldn't produce, or just dead products. So this is a view of how to effectively manage the portfolio. In this case, we call it a segment scorecard.